Welcome to Fast Form Systems Limited. Today we're going to carry out a demonstration of setting up a 600mm thick base slab using our bracket system. Our brackets come in a variety of sizes starting at 150mm and going up to 1.8 meters in height. They're very lightweight and versatile. The Fast Form bracket system is extremely easy to use, very fast to install, and is a very eco-friendly system with a carbon footprint of 80 to 90% lower than when using a traditional timber or plywood method. Okay, the tools needed for this exercise are going to be some line marker paint for marking out, also your string line, that's for marking out. Then we're using an SDS hammer drill, this fitted with a 14mm drill bit, and that suits our raw bolts. They're a 120mm raw bolt. The raw bolts are fastened into the concrete using a 110-volt impact wrench. The cordless impact wrench is used for adjusting the brackets, and the cordless screwdriver is used for fixing the plywood onto the brackets. These are using a 25mm screw. That's all the tools really required for this. Okay, for this demonstration we're going to show you how to set up our Fast Form bracket system to construct a typical base slab, 600mm thick with two 90-degree corners, one obtuse angle corner and one acute angle corner. Okay, so the first thing you'll need to do is to mark out your base. What we've done here, we've knocked a Hilti nail in the corner, and we're going to now pull the string line from the corner with the Hilti nail in to the adjacent corner. We're then going to mark the string line with the line paint. The line is going to be the front face of your plywood, which is going to be the concrete face. Now we've got our line marked, the next thing we're going to do is set out for the bracket positions. So working from one of the corners, we're going to measure 200mm. That's allowing for the 150mm corner. So our first bracket wants to be as close to the corner section as possible. Once we've marked out the corner position and the first bracket, we're going to measure out the plywood joint, which in this case is going to be 2 meters, 440mm. This should work out so the bracket at that position will fall on the centre of the plywood joints. From then we're going to measure 600mm from the first bracket position, and we're going to continue marking at 600mm all the way down the line. What we're also going to do is measure 170mm back, which works out perfectly for the hole in the bracket for fixing the raw bolt to. It's important that you do not exceed 600mm between any of the brackets. It's always best to put an extra bracket in if things aren't working out quite to plan. Okay, so the SDS hammer drill is fitted with a 14mm drill bit, and that's suitable for our raw bolts. Our raw bolts are 120mm long. And this is how long it takes. When drilling, just make sure that you drill beyond the 120 millimeters. This makes sure that any debris is below the position of the fixing that needs to be placed in there. Position the bracket over the hole and using the raw bolt, anchor in position using the 110 volt impact wrench. When fixing down the brackets, make sure you do use the 110 volt impact wrench and not the cordless impact wrench for this. The cordless impact wrench is only used for adjusting the brackets. Okay, for the purpose of this video, we're now going to shoot the rest of the bracket fixing in time lapse. Okay, that's all the fast form brackets fastened in position. The next step is to loosen off all the brackets and lean them backwards so they're out of the way. We're now going to set up the corner brackets in each direction and set them in a plumb position. So we start by loosening all the brackets off using the cordless impact wrench for this. You'll notice that the brackets can be fastened in many positions, so basically your pour can lean in or lean outwards. Also, if your base slab or your concrete blinding is not very level, then the bracket can still be set up in a plumb position. So using a spirit level on the front edge of the bracket, plumb up the bracket and then fasten the bolts again so they're tight using the cordless impact wrench. Do this at the brackets at both ends. The next step is to attach a plywood packer to the front face of the two end brackets. Plywood packers then have a screw screwed into the face of them so that the string line can be attached. Pull the string line tight and tie it off at the other end. Once the string line's in position, it's time to plumb up the intermediate brackets. So once all the brackets have been plumbed up and aligned, the next stage is to fix the plywood face. So once the plywood's secured in place, using a couple of screws on each bracket, the best thing to do is go over it and fix as many fixings as you can into it using the 25mm screws and the screwdriver. Right, going on to the corners, first of all we're going to look at the 90-degree corner. So the 90-degree corner is basically just an angle with a lot of slots in it, giving you plenty of positions to screw into. So basically just put the corner in position and fit as many screws into that as you can, making sure that your plywood's nice and flush. As we've mentioned before, when you're setting this out, make sure your brackets are as close to the corner as possible so that it doesn't form any kind of weakness on the corners. Okay, so that was a 90-degree angle. For the other corner, which is about a 35-degree angle, we're going to use the fast form flexi corner. This will accommodate most angles, so we'll show you how to fix that now. Very simple idea, it's just basically a big hinge. There's plenty of fixing positions for this, and I do suggest that you use most of them, if not all of them. So once all the corners are fixed in position, the best thing to do then is just go around, make sure all the brackets are fastened down tightly and that all the screw holes that are available are used. And then you're ready for your angle fillet or whatever you need to do, and that's it, that's that base ready.